Putin tried to reassure Chinese leaders that he was still in control after Prigozhin's departure. The Moscow Times reported on July 4 that Putin said that Russian President Vladimir Putin sought to cooperate with Chinese President Xi Jinping and Shanghai after Prime Minister Wagner's military council dismissed Yevgeny Prigozhin. It will maintain its dominance over Russia. The people of Russia are more united than ever before, the president said at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Forum. Russian society was not divided after Prigozhin's betrayal, but united. After Prigozhin's betrayal, Xi Jinping no longer had a dialogue with Putin. The situation in Russia is an insider business. Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a Eurasian political, economic, international security and defense organization founded in 2001 by China and Russia. Other members include India, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. Belarusian Wagner Group. Prigozhin announced the start of war with the Russian Ministry of Defense on the evening of June 23, claiming that about 25,000 of his fighters went to Russia to deprive justice. The news agency said that President Alexander Lukashenko met with Prigozhin, leading to an agreement in which Prigozhin agreed to stop the movement of his troops to Russia. Armed forces soldiers were given three options: to return to civilian life, sign an agreement with the modern Russian army, or transfer to Belarus. On July 3, Prigozhin recorded his first speech a week later, asking for support. President Vladimir Putin will attend the first multi-party summit this week since the military coup against Russia, part of a rare international group Russia still enjoys supporting. Leaders will discuss Tuesday's meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, a security group formed by Russia and China against Western cooperation from East Asian to Marine Indians. This year's event is hosted by India, which became a member in 2017. He replied that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the last way to present the development of the country to the world. Russian President Vladimir Putin will attend the first multi-party summit this week since the military coup against Russia, which is part of a rare international bloc where Russia still enjoys support. Leaders will discuss Tuesday's meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, a security group formed by Russia and China against Western cooperation from East Asian to Marine Indians. This year's event is hosted by India, which became a member in 2017. He replied that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the last way to present the development of the country to the world. India announced in May that the meeting would be held online, not face-to-face, as Putin did in Samarkand, Uzbekistan, last year. At least for New Delhi, it's less likely to welcome Putin and Chinese leader Xi Jinping 2 weeks after Modi was honored for a state visit by U.S. President Joe Biden. Modi exaggerated by the U.S. leader on his last visit. It's too early for India to welcome Chinese and Russian leaders, Kugelman said. India's relations with Moscow remained strong throughout the war. It has bought record levels of Russian crude and relies on Moscow for 60% of its defense equipment. At the same time, the United States and its allies engage closely with India, which they believe could hinder China's development goals. India's priority at the conference will balance its relations with the West and East, and the country will also host the G20 summit of major economies in September. Hello. It is also a platform for New Delhi to engage with Central Asia. India supports a foreign policy that deals with everyone at once, said Derek Grossman, an Indo-Pacific analyst at Rand Corporation. Arming and training the people fighting for the independence or integration of Indian-controlled Kashmir, which Islamabad denies of any charge. It will also highlight the region's need for justice and freedom, a frequent accusation against its other rival, China. India and China have been in a bitter stalemate for 3 years, with thousands of troops stationed in the disputed eastern region of Ladakh. Analysts say that China, which is trying to establish itself as a global power, has become an important player in meetings such as the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, where countries such as Myanmar, Turkey and Afghanistan have shown increasing interest in joining the organization in recent years. The trouble with the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is that China and Russia are trying to turn into an alliance against the West, which is not in line with India's foreign policy, said Madan. In the long run, it will also be a challenge for the SCO, Washington, and its allies. The SCO is a popular choice for countries that are uncomfortable with the West and its foreign policy, especially because of the role played by Russia and China. I think how important this group is for many Western countries, especially if it expands, he said. The fate of the motherland is on the united front against the attack. Putin's remarks at a meeting with key allies and his emphasis on Russia's unity showed how eager he was to dispel doubts about his rules around the world. Wagner's army took control of the southern city and advanced on Moscow on June 24. Putin faced the biggest challenge to him since he became Russia's leader on the last day of 1999. The fiercest competition for control of power. The uprising was made by agreement of the President of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko. Since then, there has been Putin. Thanks to his army and security services for preventing violence and civil war. Putin said in a speech that Russia will oppose Western sanctions and terrorism. While Moscow plans to strengthen its relations with the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and promote the conversion of foreign trade into its own currency, Moscow also warned that the possibility of incompatibility and the risks of international trade increase.